Hello. Welcome to the dungeon. I really hate taking myself seriously. I don't know how I did my other story video. I've attempted this one so many times now, and every time I hear myself speaking, I'm like, is this a thought that you should be publicizing right now, or is this a thought that you shouldn't be wasting your mouth on? But whatever. So, I'm gonna start this again. Now, I thought it would be a lot easier talking that I am now that I'm tipsy. But actually, I'm at that point where it's like, you're tipsy, but you're not in that level of smoothness yet, so you're still a little awkward with yourself. And also, I painted my whole face pink today, and there's still, well, this camera will never ever understand the complexities of my face, but, if you notice, there's some pink residue out and about. Maybe if you're watching on mobile, it'll make more sense to you. So, yeah, I'm like one of those famous ranter YouTubers who keep ranting for no reason. Anyway, so back in September, should I tell you the reasons as to why I left on my road trip? I love to escape. I want to be whisked away, but I have to whisk myself away because no one else is going to do it for me, or at least I haven't asked. So I don't know. I like to escape. Probably already said this in my other one. Really similar reasons. This one was just on a more drastic scale, and I was trying to run away from my decision of having to move back to Denmark. So, Ohio. Hold on. Let's talk about Ohio. Ohio is like a cradle to me, in its shape and a bit in the way you drive. I don't remember the roads actually being that great, but the sun was shining and it definitely raised my standards of the state. Not much significant. Let's see. That's why I'm going through this book to try to see if I wrote anything down about Ohio. Because really, during Ohio was just a lot of contemplation. Oh yeah, and getting really paranoid every time my car decided to stop working. Right on the way out of a truck stop, I was like in the middle of the road. My car shut down, and every time I revved it, it would be revving for like a minute straight and wouldn't turn back on again. And this was kind of a recurring theme throughout the entire trip. If you want to hear about every time that my car stalled on me, I could probably tell you a few points. Very interesting. But yeah, so that happened. And I was just in a hurry to get to my friend's house in Missouri, St. Louis, not friend's house, to Washington University, my friend's dorm. So I was mostly thinking about that I wanted to get there as quickly as possible. That's the thing is, I don't put a lot of time aside for myself when I know I need to do something or when I really want to do something. So it was like a 12-hour drive, and I had one day to do it. And I just thought, yeah, I have to. So I did. I left on a Thursday, I believe, and I was scheduled to get to Missouri on Friday by the evening. But in Ohio at around 12 a.m., that's when my car stopped working. So I was sitting there until like 2 in the morning, until a AAA guy came and then started the car for me, no problem, looked at me like I was an idiot, and told me to drive. So I did, and I drove until I happened upon... Where was I? So I think this was the time where I went to the bathroom on the side of a cliff, practically. I was just I looked up at the moon, and the moon was so bright, and luckily it was so bright because then it also reflected the ground very well. So I noticed immediately as I was walking out into the forest, there was a drop. There's always a drop somewhere, isn't there? And it felt, I was afraid, but I trust my own legs a lot. So that was Ohio. Really kind of just like New York, except a little drier. So then, I think I was trying to make that into a rhyme. Indiana. I still haven't found... Oh, here it is. First thing I wrote was wheat. And praise God. Yeehaw. Yeah, I guess that's a little bit Indiana, but I think I was mostly starstruck by how different it was, although it was so close. Yeah, upon entering the state, I think I remember seeing a giant blue cross sticking out of the land, screaming in my face as I entered the state. And I thought, oh my god, like this actually exists, because I'm a East and West Coaster kid. I've always been on either one side, never in between. So just seeing it in real life made it so much more real for me, obviously. And it was so, I don't know, like after this road trip, I would never, ever, ever call any of the states a flyover state. They're all special and unique in their own way, and they all have their own special characteristics. So don't bully us. Don't bully them, okay? But I wasn't in Illinois for long. Indiana, Indiana for long. I just remember the dust, and then oh yeah, the funny way that the restroom was spelled. Lady. Yeah, and just how well equipped really the Midwest is for people on road trips. Was the lighting always that way? Whatever. So, Missouri. First thing that comes to my mind is Big Brother, Big Brother. I think I kept seeing cameras in place of cops to gauge your speed, and I'm not sure if I was actually like projecting a camera onto every funny structure that I saw near the highway, but I swear to God, everyone was watching you. And I really believe that I must have broken a speed limit. I mean, I did, but I don't know if it was fast enough to worry the cameras on me. And that was another funny thing, is that about this time, that's when I started realizing that I was going a lot faster than a lot of cars on the road, and I thought it was funny because my speedometer was only allegedly going 5 over the limit, so I just figured everyone was going slow. And that's we'll find we'll continue that cliffhanger in a bit. So yes, Missouri. I think what's overcoming me mostly about Missouri is just the people there, so my emotions are a bit clouded. But let's put an objective eye onto the state itself. So you get in, and I was going to St. Louis. So what I remember about Missouri is big, giant, empty roads. It's so funny how the highways work there. They're so narrow and kind of have residential areas like right next to everything, and like you could slow down on the highway and turn into like your own street, which I thought was funny. It's so unsafe, I suppose you could say, but then at the same time everyone's a really good driver, so I wasn't really worried at all. Yes, friendly lady at gas station reminded me I'm human. No clouds, red dust, dull wind, warmth. Alien hue, akin with Wyoming, Nevada, and Utah. Well, it was the hue was definitely different from those states. I meant to say along. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. The St. Louis night sky be like at dusk time. It's like at the center, in the center of the sky would be the darkest blue, and then on all sides surrounding you, it would fade to white at the tips of the buildings. And you'd look up and you'd feel like you're on Mars, and especially at St. Louis, at Washington University, and everything was red. I also felt like I was in the desert. And yeah, those were really, really, I had a really good time. My really good pal Matthew, and I met his college friends who, since me and Matthew are so like, me and his college friends also got along really well, and I'm not used to that, so it was very special to me. So, I was there for a day and a half, I guess you could say. Got drunk, really drunk. Next day, took shrooms with a stranger, but we were already, I don't know, I could feel that he was a transparent person, so I didn't mind that much, except he left me alone in Matthew's dorm room afterwards for me to feel like I was being interrogated by Matthew, even though I'm sure that wasn't the case. But yeah, no, like after that, in the evening we went ice skating and then could not stop talking, because that happens. You just start saying every thought that you're having, and then also getting extremely emotional. But it was a good kind of emotional. I do feel bad about Matthew's friend though, because he did seem pretty down. And then that would be probably, I don't want to gossip about people, so I'm gonna just not continue on from there. So on the after ice skating that grateful night, I did not want to intrude any longer, so I went and slept in my car on the top of a parking lot, extremely empty parking lot. Then the next day applied for Washington University in some strange hope that I would be able to recreate the bonding that I had experienced that one time. Maybe that's what college is like. I don't know. If college is like that, why does anyone ever leave? So, after that, I had a general sense that I wanted to see one of my friends in Illinois. But I was also kind of like, well, I don't really know how I feel. Sadly, I didn't go to Kansas. Next time, remind me to visit the midpoint of the USA. I can't wait to see how grungy it is, and how meaningless it is. And obviously I'm a fan of American Gods. So, I just feel like laughing. Okay. So I was just kind of, I told my friend that I was near him, but I didn't really let him on where I was exactly. So instead of going into Illinois, I just went up into Iowa, because I really wanted, there's Cedar Rapids in Iowa, right? I wanted to feel like Hillary Clinton that one time, where she's like, I'm chillin' at Cedar Rapids. And that was really the only basis for what I knew Iowa was. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't worry, it's not that bad. My knowledge isn't that bad. What I wrote for Iowa. Birds lined on telephone wires along the highway. This was such an amazing experience. I've seen so many different of the Midwestern states, and I guess sort of Southern. It was really, like, this happens in real life. Birds, they line themselves along telephone wires on the highway. This is just stuff that I've been imagining my whole life. And, like, really, really romanticizing. And honestly, it's worth it being romanticized, because, I don't know, something touches me deeply about that. 3 crosses cast crooked shadows across a marsh. That was just the reflection of the marsh, and you could see the crosses, and it was kind of cloudy and just looked so ominous. And blue. Yes, I did say it was cloudy, but it was also very blue. Short rain bursts. That was also true. It was warm, short rain bursts. Fences protecting miles of brown dirt. That's also true. Yeah, people, they have so much land. I would stop sometimes in Iowa on a random road and have to step out and look outside, and you'd see a fence and then just dirt going down a hill, and then you see a house really far away, and there's a man who has a dog. He might be looking at you, but he might not be because he's preoccupied with his own physical laborious job. I don't know. Suicidal. Wait, no, not that one. Maze of roads outlining cornfields. That's also true. Most of what I did in Iowa, the entire day, I must have been there just a day. I was there after Illinois as well, but this time, yes. I kept turning down roads because I didn't. I mean, what else are we gonna do in Iowa? So I went down secret roads, and many of them just turned into each other, and all there really were cornfields and the occasional creek, with like little with abandoned like stone structures jutting out of the whatever, like right next to the creek. I'm forgetting words, and I'm saying jutting again. Yes. It was very windy as well. I loved, and clay roads. My feet got gray. Yeah. I really enjoyed stepping outside and experiencing the Midwestern wind. Like, so forceful against my body. And then I wrote suicidal caterpillars. It was so tragic. I made a video where I was filming a caterpillar on the road, and then I walked away for a minute, and then a car passed. And when I walked back, the caterpillar was smushed, and I realized that it had been killed. And then after that, I was so paranoid every time I got in my own car to drive that I I would swerve my car, and I mean, luckily there weren't really many people there, so whatever. I'd swerve my car to avoid every caterpillar, but they were really trying hard to die. So many of them were crossing the roads, and then like a beautiful praying mantis also jumped out in the middle of the road, and I had to save him. Jumped out, and I put him on the other side because I didn't know where he wanted to go. I just wanted him to be safe. Peaceful yet stern wind, yes. Secret roads leading to tiny communities. Yeah, I went up this one hill, and I took a very narrow, windy path as I was listening to one of my favorite YouTubers talk about her ketamine experience. And then I realized at the end of it, or at the end of the windy road, was somebody's house, so I had to leave immediately again. Trees in the river, and the rivers are 2 inches away from being the same level as the ground. That's true. Yeah, I think some flooding must have been going on, or maybe this is normal, but I'd be on the road and I'd look to the side, and it was just the same, everything was the same level as me, the water, but it was very cool because of all the trees and plants sticking out of them that would reflect. It felt very ethereal and fake. A man with overalls petting his 2 white cats in front of his mobile home. I like that, the quintessence of Iowa. Sitting in front of your mobile home, all you have are your pets and your immediate surroundings. Yeah, saved was it grasshopper? Maybe it was a grasshopper. Hay bales, sheep, bones, and piles of feces. That's for another time. So, and then at that point, I texted I think, actually no, I started driving towards Illinois, but I didn't tell my friend that I was on my way because I wanted to give myself as much time as possible to get ready. So I think I drove for a few hours, and then halfway to his house, I think I was an hour and a half away at that point, I told him, okay, I'll be there, or I'm like 3 hours away, because I needed to get ready, and I needed to breathe. And he's like, okay, great. Thanks him so much. Jim, I shouldn't say his whole name. Yeah, so he's one of my, he was one of my longtime internet Instagram follower mutuals, and we both, I guess, admired each other in a sense. So I thought it would be really cool to see him, and yeah, he was very open-minded that about letting me. I think I arrived first at like 11 p.m. or something. But yes, Illinois, what can I say about Illinois? Long roads, again. Light pollution. I'm not breathing. Yeah, I went there at night. It felt a lot like Iowa, but longer. And a little bit colder. But also windy. Which I guess makes sense now. I keep forgetting that Chicago's the windy city. So, me and Jim, we went to a forest and we took a walk at night, but everything was tinted orange because of the light pollution. We hung around and we talked, and then didn't have much else to do, so we decided to go to a diner, and I think that was at 1 a.m., maybe 12, open till 1. I had a strange Italian soda, which I didn't realize had ice cream in it. But I'm sure that was very interesting to you. And then he had some coffee. And then, yeah, it was very, very friendly experience. And then he told me a bit about his past there. And then I listened. And then I guess we both talked about our own pasts, as you do in a bar at 12 a.m. Windy suburbs, I wrote down. Yes, I did this a lot in Illinois, whenever I was alone, because I think I was there for like 2 days. But every time I wasn't hanging with Jim, I was really just like wandering around streets and not doing anything. So yeah, I mean, I felt like a teen again. I am a teen, but I felt like I was I don't know, it was an interesting sense of home that I hadn't felt in a while. Like wandering my own streets in the suburbs, and I'm like, I gotta get out. And here I am listening to my sad music, and I'm all alone on the street. No one else is out. See, why do a lot of teenagers do this at night? Like, or did a lot of teenagers do this when they were teenagers? Like, walk around empty streets at night, thinking and listening to music? Because if they have, I've never seen another one do that. And I'm, how lonely. How lonely. Yes, what did I say? Oh yeah, so then, yeah, again, when Jim wasn't there, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go to Chicago, because he was on the suburbs about an hour away. So all I wrote was, sat in car near Chicago, tried walking around before being bitten by a mosquito. Yeah, that's what happened. Not much else interesting. I really just sat around a park, and I think I saw a lady die, but she didn't actually die, and then she left. I was just sitting in my car the whole time, really. I'm eating snacks and resting. Gave a guy $6 for walking up to my car. I was nervous. Weed. we went to the movies, and we saw a horror movie. It was like that new slasher one, Horror House or something. It was really dumb, but I'm glad I saw it with him. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, I said I got a newfound happiness for acting. Yes, because he's an actor and he inspired me. Overgrown lots. Sitting on lawn chairs outside garage. Yes, I did that with Jim. And small dog looked into my eyes. We connected. That was his dog. I feel really bad. I forgot to respond to him one time after I had left. And then every time he texted me after that, I'm like, oh great, now he knows that I haven't responded in that long, so he texted me again. And then it just becomes a cycle of like, well, now you've sent me so many messages that you know that I couldn't have possibly missed any of them. But now I really don't have anything to say. I don't have any excuse, so see you on the flip side. Yeah, so then I left. Yeah, I was thinking about like seeing him again, but then I just kept driving west because you have to finish what you started. So Nebraska, so brown and windy, and I licked my skin and I tasted like salt because I was sweating so hard. My AC wasn't working. God. Yeah, I mean, there are more things that I could say about Iowa. Yes, the feces thing. That's because I set up camp next in a random hiking area, and I didn't realize that that's where everyone piled their poop. So that's where I slept next to that, because there was really nowhere else from my car to go. And in Illinois, I slept in a hotel, which was really nice because I took a shower. So yes, I'm just saying this for my own sake, I suppose, so I don't forget. Although I already haven't forgotten, so I don't know why I think I'd forget. So Nebraska, yes, all of that. And then black cows against the brown dirt. Everything was so wavy, everything and reflective, and dust bunnies every mile. Extremely unforgiving wind. I'm sure my car was being pushed around a little bit. A few trucks in front of me I could see were like, just what is Nebraska and how do you live there? Yes, felt the car struggle. Heat made my body sweat. Yes, why do I write literally the same things that I'm mentioning? I'm just always thinking the same thing. I tasted salty all over. Yes, flat, dusty. At one point, the brown stopped and became multicolored grass. Yes, that was on my way to Wyoming, so this was when I was about to see one of my best friends, Blake. And at the west of Nebraska, multicolored grass and plateaus. I can't explain how happy that made me. I'd never seen anything like it before. Oh, could hear the cries of the land inside of me. Pale rainbow feeling. I'm really good at expressing myself. I don't know. It just, like, yeah, like as I said, Missouri had that alien sky, but as I was getting towards the middle of America, the ground became alien. I guess you could say. That was a half-hearted way to end it. Became so foreign to me, and it's like, oh, I feel like I belong. So I don't know. I miss it so much, but I'm glad I got to spend about a week around this area. Anyway, so oh yeah, so so I got into Wyoming around evening time, and it was so cool. The speed limit changed to like 85 miles per hour, I think, or maybe 90, even 90 at some point, and I had never gotten to drive that fast legally, and it was so fun. I won't forget the car that first showed me the way. He drove out in front of me, and I was a little cautious, but when I saw how fast he was going, he gave me the courage to keep progressing. And I was listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac at that point. Shrubs, I wrote. And I was like shaking, and I think I was shaking partly because I was drinking so much caffeine, and partly because I was so excited to see Blake, but also nervous, because I had no idea what he was like in real life. And I was lightheaded from the elevation, much as I'm lightheaded right now from not breathing. Oh, and it was freezing. It was freezing. So if Nebraska was making me sweat extremely, I don't know what it's like in Wyoming. I guess, like I wrote, the elevation. But I was basically reenacting World War II German army entering Russia. because I was so ill-equipped that that I like, yeah, this is like my only jacket, really. I was I was really assuming like the farther west I go, the warmer it'll be, right? So I shouldn't have to pack or anything. But no, no. I was wrong. So I didn't get to go outside that much. And then I wrote, oh my god, Blake, my friend, he was so much taller and skinnier than I thought he was. We dangled, I don't know, it's something I noticed. We dangled our feet over a bridge while a train passed beneath us late at night. We watched a bunch of movies together. We explored neighborhoods in the dark, and climbed rungs together, and what else? We sat on a sidewalk. Well, I really wanted to sit on a sidewalk while we drank pink milk and took pink milk pictures. A dull yellow. Saw a lot of, yes, colors were dull yellow, but at the same time it was fall, so all the leaves were falling on the ground, and it's just such a good feeling. No trees, only fence. Yeah, as soon as we left, yeah, so I was in Laramie. So as soon as Laramie was an oasis, a college town, I guess you could call it. But as soon as we'd leave that oasis, there would just be no trees, only fence, fog obscuring the distance. Just I wrote, a rusted truck driving alone on a 50-mile stretch towards Utah. It was probably longer than 50 miles. Cowboys. I saw signs for 50-cent coffee. I felt like I was living like back in the 40s. Some bonnets. I bought a bonnet. Should I get you my bonnet? I want to show you my bonnet. Okay. Authentic. So now I'm officially a prairie girl. So, I'm never gonna lose it, I hope. I've lost a lot of things that I thought that I'd never lose. Yes, torn. Oh, it wasn't 50-cent coffee, it was 25-cent coffee. Surrounding landscape like nothing I'd ever seen before. Yeah, because everything was so wide. I'm used to something breaking my sight, like breaking up the land, but no, it was just land. And yes, it started to snow on the day that I left, but I had a really great time in Wyoming, and I would go again anytime. So, oh yeah. I guess while I was in Wyoming, I really wanted to buy a pumpkin and carve the pumpkin, so the closest place that we could go was in Colorado. Luckily, we were close by. And oh my goodness, I'm so happy I saw Colorado. So I remember large rock foundations, much more red and less cold than Wyoming. It's very warm. Pumpkins. God, there's so many, like, when I'm with somebody, it's as if everybody wants to talk to me. I struck up so much conversation with the people around me. One, by wearing my pink sunglasses, like 3 people, I let them try it on in a store. Girl, this is a really good conversation piece, my necklace from Salem. Everyone always asks me what it is, but this one girl, I don't know, me and her, we bonded. She might forget me, but I'll never forget her. We had a really nice talk inside the Laramie thrift store. So, Colorado. Smell of mint in the air. That's true. A little grass. So this was in preparation for the shrub brush land, or whatever my friend calls it. Wait. Brush, yeah, whatever. But yeah, there's just so many more scents that I wasn't used to. Driving, yes, because all we did was drive in Colorado, and then we went back. But yeah, no, I'm like, I'm almost considering going to university in Colorado, which probably won't ever happen because I'm probably gonna quit school again. But yeah, if I went to university, I would go in Denver. All right. So then after all of that, I went through Utah, and I had never really heard much about Utah at all. So I was so surprised when I noticed. Yes, I wrote, it destroyed all my preconceived notions. The still surfaces so perfectly still that the reflections of the mountains were indistinguishable from reality, and apparently those were salt flats. And I was so excited. I tasted the water from one of them, and it was indeed salty. Warmer than Wyoming. Just very happy to know that things were warmer than Wyoming. Long straight stretches of highway. And think this is the state where I opened the door of a gas station for someone and later waved them off in their car. Indeed it was, I believe. Salt seemed like snow. Yes. One day I hope I see Utah again. But that was short-lived because I was kind of on my way to California at this point to see my best friend is. So, Nevada, which also, I mean, I had heard things about Nevada, and I'd seen some pictures, and I'd always romanticized it in my head, but it was nothing like I thought it would be. I mean, it was, but it was better. It was better than I thought it would be. Yes, so the clouds, they disappeared at night. It's very true. And I'd be so far away from civilization that it was almost as if I was at a special campsite looking up, and there were, you'd just see, like, the whole of the Milky Way. You'd see so much of it. And especially just against all the mountains and the flatness of, like I'm sure the mountains were probably, like, 10 miles away from me, but I'd be able to see them, and then I'd just see all the land in between. And a lot of it was actually fenced off as well, although I never saw a sign of a person taking care of it. So cars so far away that the lights would flicker. That's true. We'd have to keep on our lights during the day as well, just in case, because of how, like, reflective everything was, and how flickery everything was. I listened to a lot of Jackson C. Frank. That's true. Which is great because one of my friends who's actually a Nevada native, she told me that she also listens to him, like it's one of her Nevada essentials, and I'm so happy about that. And then I also had to listen to Nevada by Scout Niblet. The Clown Motel. Yeah, so my goal for Nevada was not Las Vegas, no. It was Tonopah, Nevada, where the Clown Motel was. Upon entering, it was surrounded by a 1910 cemetery, like people who died of tuberculosis in the Great Tonopah Fire of 1911, I think it was. And I was disappointed with the lack of clowns in my hotel room, but the entrance, like the main room itself where you go in to check in, that was satisfying enough, I suppose. And then I want to show you my souvenir. Yeah, I didn't buy much from, I didn't buy, like, anything from any of the states that I visited except for the bonnet and this Clown Motel business card. I love it so much. I don't know if you can tell, but it's rainbow. And I hope I have it forever. Alright. Aw, man, did the lighting really change again? I think it might have been this way before, but it's just not the same. Alright. Yes, stretches with warnings of no gas for, like, the next 190 miles. So, much to my displeasure, I had to keep filling up my tank, and because it was so expensive, I would just fill it up with 85 grade. Which is funny, because on the East Coast, the lowest that exists is 87. But it was cheaper, although still more expensive than it would have been in New York. Hours with no service. That's so true. I liked it because I got to kind of tap into my own creativity while I was driving again. But yeah, there was no service, and I hadn't downloaded any music. So I was just listening to the fuzz of the radio, staring up at the mountains, wondering what people might have been calling out to each other a long, long time ago. Yes, hours between towns, and when you reached a town, the population was like usually below 1,000. Extreme distance, surrounded by mountains and few trees, so much sky to look at. No wonder people spot UFOs. Yeah. Sky turns mountains purple at sunset. That's what I wrote. That's true. Yeah. You'd have to find a picture of it yourself. Red. There's, yes, red rocks, red, whatever. Oh my god. I wrote so much. So, then I wrote, more foreign smells, probably all the edible plants, spiky everything, because I guess it was more dry. No people, but rangers everywhere. It seems like people live their whole life in solitude to care for their ranches, ladies and men of the canyon, respectable. The outskirts of most towns had junkyards, for things that will never leave the state, because I'm sure it was very hard to transport anything to, like a trash. It kind of just seems like you'd have to live with whatever you ended up owning, because, like, who's gonna come and take it away unless you're rich. Now I'm just lying. I don't know. But it just seemed like that. So, like, 20-year-old cars you'd see hanging around, you'd see old poles, you'd see outhouses, menacing dolls, you name it. I didn't really have many interactions with people, but it would have been interesting to talk with someone who had actually lived there. Because I feel like, I don't know, I would love to know their thoughts surrounding the area, like their lives, and what did I write here? Whatever. Their hobbies, just something, just because, like, you know, it seems like an entirely different breed of people who grow up there and stay there, and mostly in these small towns that I'm talking about, not those near California towns. They don't really know real Nevada. Maybe I'm stirring up a false conflict between cities. Yeah, no, I believe that they're probably, like, some of the most interesting people who, for not leaving where they live. So wonky, so wacky. So all I'm left with is a feeling of longing, and a need to go back. I wish my car wasn't acting up so scarily, and that gas money was unlimited. Maybe then I'd be happy, at least for a few weeks. Then I'd be crying that I wasn't developing as rapidly as I'd like, or become smitten with loneliness and regret. Why can't I believe in anything long enough? That's true. Yeah. I don't know, I loved it. The whole time my grandma and my mom were my mom and my grandpa, that's what I said? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, they thought I was kind of really dumb for doing it, because I didn't have as much money in gas as I thought I did. I started out with like $900, but somehow it all kind of was gone by the time I was in Nevada. But, I mean, I was already there. Everyone kept telling me to go back, but at this point, I was so close to seeing Iz that I just had to. So, I ended up driving there anyway. Entering California. If I thought Utah and Nevada were different, California was just so grand. As I entered, the mountains there were way larger than any mountains that I had seen in Nevada. And I saw the sea and sand and everything. It's like when I close my eyes and I imagine California, I imagine a dark blue, but the plants are like pale yellow, and there's brown, and not much green at all. But I think that was just like the outskirts. It almost seemed like there was like the mountains were their own separator for when you entered the state. And that's when I had to go up like a 10,000 foot or higher elevation, and I fucked up my car again because I rolled over a very spherical rock, very impressively spherical rock that like fucked up the running of my coolant. So at this point, my car was overheating a lot more often. So I just sat there at the top of a mountain wondering, well, like, shit, what am I gonna do? Luckily, though, two nice middle-aged people moseyed on over and helped me out. And then another car stopped by, and then they all helped me out. And then they just let me drive in front of them for the next hour until they knew that I was safe. So thank you. Yes, that is when, I don't know, I think that's when I was still a couple hours away from Miz. Sad thing about California, yeah, I don't know, California gave me the heebie-jeebies, at least as a car driver. It's like the lack of security on these roads, yet there's so many people driving all the time. No lights at night, are you kidding me? I was kind of glad that people were slow drivers, but I was also in a hurry, so that made me, I don't know. The first time, I never get annoyed as a driver, but I felt a little hoity-toity, uppity, whatever, because I'm usually the slow one, even though I'm going the speed limit, and people are like, come on, why aren't you going like 10 miles over? Oh yeah, that reminds me. I forgot to tell you. I left you on a cliffhanger like 40 minutes ago. It turns out my speedometer the whole time was so off that I was going like 15 miles over the limit at almost all times. And I didn't realize that until I was like in Wyoming already. And I had already passed like so many cops. And then like none of them ever came to pull me over. So I just figured I thought I was doing fine. But yeah, no. Which made sense as to why I was like getting places faster than usual. I'm so proud of myself. Like, what a fiend you are. But then as soon as I realized, then of course I had to download like a speedometer app, and I was very like uptight afterwards of not exceeding 10 miles over the limit. So yes, then I was in California, and I was with Iz, and it was just super surreal. And me and her, we did so many things together in like the 2 weeks that I was living with her, I think, that it feels like kind of my own section of life. Like, truly, 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 you can make life forever if you just do new things constantly. Because that 2 weeks, it felt like a lifetime, my own little lifetime. Sadly, I'm actually considering going back and staying there again, because I left early as I think I was just feeling a lot of tension and like sadness about my own family, because at that point, yeah, it had been so long that I kind of forgot what being back here was like. So I definitely, and people warned me, they're like, sure you don't have rose tinted glasses? And I'm like, I don't know. So in all my I don't know-ness, I left again. But yeah, me and her, we experienced so much. We're just we were compared to pixies a lot of the time. We'd enter places and it would always be so special. Like, we just happened upon an art exhibit where a lady called us magical and how she could feel our magic energy. And we sat on top of a Mormon church rooftop with her friend Maud, who I also love now. Dyed my hair, met strange Tinder boys. got amazing. Oh yeah, I shopped a lot there. 'Cause just the vast, I hadn't been in a real city for so long. I'm a city kid, and um, yeah, I hadn't had that many options to me in a long time. God, it was amazing. What else did we do? We went to Goodwill a few times, and then I fucked up my car even more. Amazing. We went to San Francisco, walked down like some drug streets. That was great. I saw one of my also long lost internet friends, Care, who I miss again now. Yeah, we went hiking a lot. And her and her friend Shane showed or tried telling me things about plants, but forgot. Which is why I don't think I could ever be a plant person. What else did we do? I also kind of slept a lot and felt depressed, and that wasn't anyone's fault. I think that's just because I wasn't, like, once I was there, I'm like, well, shit, now what? I can't like that quickly just go across America again. And then people I just kept asking everybody's opinion, which was a bad idea. I wasn't really listening to myself. And so I filled myself with self-doubt. Some people were like really sure about what I should do, like go back to Denmark, and I'm like, all right. Or some people were like, stay here, and then I was like, okay, I see what your point. I always see everyone's point. And then it's basically like whoever's the last person to tell me something is usually like who we'll listen to. So I ended up going back, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah. But overall, just I felt I think I learned a new sense of I gained a new sense of self-confidence, really. I felt really good in my own skin, and I know that I can feel good in my own skin now. Which I need to remind myself of, because it's really not easy here. I keep falling into depressions and like not moving and not going out. But yeah, it was just new experiences get me so high. So I'm so like I can probably I'll be one of those annoying people who keeps talking about the same experience over and over and over again for the rest of their lives. But I hope that this wasn't the last time. Yeah, so if anyone has a car and they're willing to basically be homeless with me, I play music and we can go to venues, and I, I kind of can make art. So let's just drive and only have enough money for gas, and I have food stamps, so I'll take care of you food-wise. Let's go again. Yeah, I'm learning more and more also that I shouldn't, because it was another thing that I felt kind of guilty the whole time, that I wasn't following like the strict order of like society. That's such a hippie punk thing to say. But it's like, remember that your life does not have to do with like the structure that society expects you to follow, I suppose. Certain things that you have to have done at this age, and certain things that you should be doing at this age, or like what you should be doing with your life. Like, honestly, just focus on yourself, progression, and everybody. And it's so funny that it's always the same thing. You need to be reminded of the same thing. Like your progression is your progression, and it's personal to you, so it's okay if it's different from somebody else's. Yes. So that's sort of it. On another day, I would probably have told a very different story. But yes. Thank you. Okay. And thanks for the person who wanted me to make another video.